This stock has rallied 200% from its lows in the span of less than half a year. It has broken the relevant levels of resistance, only briefly though, and even now it is still trading at a 2x valuation compared to the lows, compared to the bottom within this larger correction. Yet somehow we have to favor a large decline. So by the end of this video, you will know exactly the path that I'm tracking for this stock, the actual opportunity, the levels I would start to consider a bottom to potentially form, and the exact path I envision for this structure to develop. Welcome to the trade setup. So in the case of this stock, we have been tracking this large correction for some time now, but unfortunately the pattern never seemed particularly complete in its decline. The structure was suggesting that the correction was not complete. This didn't prevent us to look for something more bullish to be going on. Sometimes we simply do not form a clearly complete pattern, but we had strict requirements to be able to trust this in being the breakout we were seeking. This didn't happen, and we are looking at this as a larger correction to see extensions. In most cases, I am looking at this to be a wave 2 or something adjacent to that, potentially a wave B. In all of those cases, however, I've been looking for a 3-wave pattern to develop, and this has been the exact issue, as within any 3-wave pattern I would track, the structure would benefit from one additional low. Again, we have been looking for the potential reversal. We have been tracking a path that could have allowed a very direct breakout. But for that, it needed to hold critical internal levels of support, and the structure, the reversal, needed to show strength. It needed to show momentum increasing, and what we are seeing right now is against those expectations. And to be clear, this is not a prediction that we will see the breakdown, but it is a strong suggestion from the structure that we have to favor lower prices, that we are looking with high likelihood for this correction to extend. Now, let's present the bearish path first, and then I will show you what could actually still work out, what we could still track for the rally to happen. So in this development, we are looking at a large decline within the area of a larger A, B, C pattern, where within the wave C, we are tracking an ending diagonal. So this would have been the wave 1 down, the wave 2 up here, the wave 3 down, the wave 4 up, and the 5th wave to complete this correction. Well, within this idea, we are looking at the levels of resistance up to the 61.8% retracement for a potential wave 4. Those would go as high as $36, and it has managed to break them, but it is not a sustained break. It is not what was necessary to strongly indicate that this structure wouldn't see a wave 4 correction and that this structure would have a bottom in. Well, this implies we would be looking for the 5th wave to form. This implies we would be looking for a 3-wave pattern, an ABC structure, to develop within the remainder of this correction, completing this as a larger wave 5, then completing potentially this as an orange wave 2, or potentially the yellow wave 2. A couple of different interpretations that don't really have an impact in the near to midterm, to be honest. And I will show you in a moment exactly how I could see this wave A develop. But let's take a look at the bullish pattern here. So within this structure, what I would have liked to see materialize was this idea of potentially an impulse where this wave 1 would have had something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 within it. This could work out as an impulse at leading diagonal, I don't really care. This could have been the correction within the wave 2, and then the wave 3 would have needed to materialize. Within this interpretation, however, this is not the wave 3. It is far too small of a rally for it to be a wave 3. If you remember from the previous updates, the ideal target for the wave 3 is the 138.2% extension of the wave 1. That sits at about $69, very far from the current levels, and this rally, this move, has barely reached the 61.8% extension, Didn't even get to the next level, the 78.6% extension. So what options do we have here in terms of a bullish pattern? Well, technically, nothing is really preventing me from tracking this as an internal wave 1 up, and this being a wave 2 down, where the wave 3 would become an extended one, and in this pattern, we would likely see it succeed in reaching the ideal target. So, in this interpretation, I would have the levels of support to track for continuation higher, extending down to $24.50. Now, the thing is, this structure would have already had a bottom in, as within the currently available decline in the smaller time frame, I see it quite capable of extending to even lower prices, and it is rather preferable at this point. So what I am tracking here is rather likely to be a wave A in the orange interpretation, where I would be looking for a 5-wave pattern to unfold, where the most relevant levels of resistance I could extract from here would be defined by looking for a potential impulse to be in formation within this orange wave A. In this interpretation, I would have this as a wave 1 down, a wave 2 up, and right now the wave 3 would be in full development of this larger orange wave A. I am looking for a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 to complete this as a wave 3. And this is where the most important pivot could happen. This is where I would expect a wave 4 correction and a wave 5 to complete a 5-wave pattern down. This is the next opportunity, in my opinion, for the white scenario to form a bottom, as once this supposed orange wave 3 would have the pattern complete within a 5-wave structure, it could mark the point where we would have a wave C complete instead within an A, B, C pattern in this white wave 2. At this point, I do not find it likely that we have a bottom in either way. At this point, the pattern seems rather likely to extend, and the structure that I'm tracking even in the white scenario prefers lower prices today. So in this interpretation, we have either this orange path that could lead to a 5-wave pattern down in the orange wave A, and in the white pattern, in the white structure, I'm looking for a 3-wave pattern down where I expect 5 waves within the wave C. So in this scenario, I am looking for this wave 1 to have bottomed here, this to have been the wave 2 top, the wave 3 likely to extend lower, then the wave 4 would be expected, and the 5th to complete this structure. We can track this in, let's say, green, whatever. And within this scenario, I'm tracking this green wave 3. Within this wave 3, I'm looking for an impulse, and I'm also looking for the ideal target to be reached, the 138.2% extension of the wave A. This has already been achieved, but the structure in this decline, this supposed wave 3, is not complete. So right now, the next step in this wave 3 is to track internal levels of resistance, where the wave 3 is developing an impulse, but the internal structure only has 3 waves down. Looking here for the 4th and the 5th to complete this green wave 3. In this scenario, I would have one additional low necessary, and once that is done, I see the potential of having a bottom in within this wave 3, but I also see the necessity of a larger correction within the wave 4, similar in proportions with what we've had in this green wave 2, and then one additional low within the green wave 5 to complete the larger 5-wave pattern within either the white wave C or the orange wave 3. So at this point, from a smaller time frame perspective, we could be looking for the reversal, we could be looking for the wave A to develop in the orange pattern, but we do not know. From a slightly larger time frame perspective, however, I worry for the reliability of this white pattern to extend higher. In the previous videos, I have shared how important it has been to hold these high levels of support. In the previous update, I've shared how important it would have been for it to hold the $35 level within this attempt of a reversal. I've shared the risk that we will see much further extensions if it weren't to hold these levels, and we are looking from that point on, well, at about a 20% decline. and the pattern doesn't even seem complete. Now, for me, the strategy would rather be to have a little bit of patience here. And to be honest, even if we see a stronger rally, even if the green levels of resistance get broken, I would not see it as a guarantee that the correction is done. I would not see it as a guarantee that this pattern couldn't extend lower. Right now, the structure that we see in the decline is very much incomplete, similarly with what we see on the larger time frame. This doesn't mean we have a guarantee that we will see lower extensions, but we also do not have any strong indication that the currently available patterns have a high probability of seeing the push into even higher prices. So right now, in this path, HIMS and HERS held could very easily be heading for a complete reset within the larger correction. And it is rather suggested that it would be headed for a decline that would lead to even lower levels than what we have already seen within this large correction. It is quite suggestive that we would see levels potentially around the $12 region be reached. The $11 region, maybe even below $10, is a very realistic expectation as the next step for completing this as a larger correction, and that will present a very high potential opportunity. But until it gets there, we have an intensified risk of holding long positions in the case of this stock. And for now, we will actually stop here. If you want even more updates, even more opportunities, you can check out the Patreon, but these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoyed the content and want to support it directly, check out the channel membership, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.